Hello, everyone. We made it to another Friday.
Yes.
How you doing, Tar?
Hey guys, hey Cass.
Hey, I
I'm
love your
good.
hair.
Oh, thanks. I got it cut like your cut. I was like, I
Yeah.
want Cassie's cut. Give me it.
It looks lighter. It looks
Oh, really?
lighter. Yeah.
I washed it, so that's probably it.
It's the
yeah.
wash job.
Yeah, I'm excited that it's Friday. But I actually got some sleep last night, so I woke
Maybe
up.
that's it.
Yeah,
You look
maybe
well
that's it.
rested.
Yeah, I think that is it.
Maybe it's the storm. I always sleep better when we have the storms.
I know.
Pretty
Me
crazy.
too. I love the thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
trying
I
to
hope
get the chat
everyone is
going.
doing good. Hi, Capone. Hopefully that's how you pronounce your name. But hi, Capone.
I think so.
Hi, Al. Hello, 589. I know, XRP is stuck. What is going on? Another week of this. I feel like we were just talking about this. I cannot
Yeah.
believe it's been another week.
I know, and the markets haven't done anything. So I'm ready to be done with this correction.
Me too.
We need what is going to be the event that's going to just kick us out of this, because we're already at war. Like, everybody thought that was going to crash the market, and
Yeah.
it literally didn't do anything to the market.
No, it's like crypto Twitter already anticipated the war.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the most anticipated war. Like, I've heard about this war 4 years ago.
Yeah. And we're also streaming live on YouTube right now at the same time. So if you're catching us on YouTube, make sure to come in and say hi, because I know there's a few people there right now and they haven't said hi yet. So I feel a little
Hello,
lonely,
everyone.
but-
Hi, Russell. Yes, hopefully your connection is good. I can see
Yeah.
the chat. In just a little bit, it'll come up on the screen if you're on X. It does take a little bit of time. Hey, Scott. Okay, so we're gonna get started here soon. We have about 100 people joining us right now on X, so definitely ready to kick this off.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who we are, we call ourselves the twins of crypto.
And we're actually twins. A lot of people
yeah, we
like,
are
wait, are
actually
you
twins.
sisters? No, we're actually twins. Yeah.
Yes. So we both are obsessed with technical analysis and the crypto market. We brought that over to the crypto market. So what you're going to see today is our framework pretty much in action. You're going to see the RSI, you're going to see Fibonacci analysis, as well as Elliott wave theory. And that composes our entire framework. And that's everything that we use to read and predict, analyze, and trade the market. So this is our time on Friday where we spend with you, showing you how to do that in real time. But we definitely like this to be a little bit more casual, or at least we try. But Tara and I can get so geeked out about this stuff. So let us know if you have any questions, and we'll try to tone it down a little bit with the technical jargon. And
Yeah,
all
we
of
want
that.
to take this time for you guys to just really come and hang out with us. We want to explain some things on the charts, but also we want you to just, like I said, get to know us and come hang out. And during the week, we try to post our actual analysis, which will be a little bit easier to follow. And you can go and check out our analysis through the week as well. But these videos, we want to take you through the charts and show you why we have the targets that we do, and then also show you some things that you can be putting on your charts as we all watch and monitor the market as it develops.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully the war is going to end soon. That would be great, so gas prices can come down. They're just slowly creeping up every single day.
Yeah.
It's snowing in Ontario,
Is
Obi-Wan says. So
Oh,
yeah, it
man.
actually is. It is a little bit snowing here too. I couldn't believe last Friday it got up to 73 degrees, and the next day it was 34 degrees.
Yeah, and it was like a blizzard the next
Yeah.
day. I cannot wait to take my coffees in the morning down to the beach and just walk on the beach in the mornings. I miss that so much. I was going to ask you, what do you like? So Cassie and I are both beach bums. We just love the beach. We grew up on the beach, and that's what we love to do in our spare time. But I was going to ask you,
When
Cass,
it's warm.
yeah, when
where
it's
we
warm.
are, which is
So,
only
so what's
3
your favorite
months out of the
thing
year.
to do, right now, and on your spare time on the weekends? And it can't without spending money. That's free. What's something that you like to do?
I think besides TA, my biggest passion is houses.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
I pretty much fell in love with a house.
Yep.
And anytime that
I
happens,
can confirm.
anytime that happens in my life, I can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
So I've been spending all my time trying to design this house that
And
I don't have yet.
She's about to.
Yeah, that I'm under contract for. So I think that has been taking up
Yes.
all my mind capacity.
I know, Cassie. I told Cassie that if she doesn't get this house, I'm going to. And then after she's completely designed it from like top to bottom, like I can't get it anymore. She claims this as her own. I can't go live in her house that she's fully
I've told her all
designed.
my future plans, so I've claimed every nook and cranny of that house.
Yep.
It can't be yours. No, but this house is crazy, you guys, because it's a foreclosure and they've completely messed up on everything about this house. Like I don't understand what's going on. Like it was listed for like 1,700 square feet, but it's actually 4,300 square feet. Yeah. And it was listed for 2.5 acres. It's actually 5 acres. So I'm either getting really lucky or I'm just really stupid. I don't know. I don't know what.
We don't know yet. We'll give you an update on that.
We will definitely update on the house situation next week.
But well, I was thinking,
Claire.
like, what do I love to do on the spare time that doesn't cost money? And I really miss just going for drives. I love just listening to music, like on a sunny day or just a nice day, going for a drive. And I really miss that. So maybe I'll have to do that this weekend.
A drive without crying kids in the car.
Yeah, with like good music and for sure no kids. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what
Hopefully
I miss.
the sun comes out and you can do your drives soon.
Yeah, I know.
That
I
would
can't
be
wait for
nice.
that. Maybe it'll be like nice right when the correction ends, and then we could just have.
Oh, that would be glorious!
Yeah,
like
that
the
would
sun
be
comes out,
the sun is
crypto's pumping.
Yeah, everything's
that's
pumping.
what we need.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's waiting for because I really don't know what else it's waiting for. It must be waiting for spring. Something.
It's waiting for something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna try to make this a little bit more organized than what we have been doing.
But also, Cassie has to go early. I just want to announce that Cassie has to leave us early. So, and I'm not going to stay on by myself.
So at 2:30, we're gonna go for about an hour and a half. I do have to leave at 2:30.
Yeah, so we should get.
We're gonna get everything into that.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we go 2 hours, we're like just saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And nothing crazy has really happened. So.
Yeah.
We
should have enough time anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so the segments today are going to be XRP macro. We'll start with XRP today. I know a lot of you requested that last time.
We know it's the best, so of course we're going to start with XRP.
We're going to start with XRP macro, and then we're going to get into, and Tara's going to do XRP macro, and then we're going to switch to me, and we'll go to XRP micro, so what's happening right now in the next few days. And then we'll get over to Bitcoin. I don't know if we'll show both, but probably a little bit of both, macro and micro.
Yeah.
And then get into some altcoins at the end. We'll take a look at altcoins are really on the move. I don't know if you saw that, Tar. We have
I haven't.
some upwards of 8% today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
I know this whole pump here has, I think, got people just optimistic, but I'm definitely cautious about it.
Oh,
so.
okay.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. We'll get into GRT, Algo, Flare, H-Bar. If you guys want to see any other altcoins, both of us can see the chats. So make sure to put what you want to see in the chat, and maybe we'll be able to fit that in at the end.
Yeah.
And then at the end, after we do altcoins, we'll go over a quick recap before we get off live today and enjoy our weekend.
Yeah. And like Cassie said, if you guys have any questions while we go through these, make sure to put them in the chat and we'll get them answered while we have you here. So let's get started.
Okay, let's get started. We're going to flip over to you for XRP macro then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is, let's zoom out a little bit. If we're going to do macro, let's get to probably the monthly. This is XRP on Bitfinex on the monthly time frame, and so anytime we go to start a macro analysis like this, I like to zoom out as much as I can to fit all of the data just in one frame like this. So then it's really easy to see the waves and find the market positioning. So you can see right now, it just finished. So, okay, so let's go through this. I don't have this labeled on this chart. So let's label the last 5 wave impulse, and then we can go from there because it's really the most relevant to what's happening now. So from this last...
I think it's also worth noting that on Coinbase, it actually starts off at that 38 cent low because it got relisted. So Coinbase is showing more of a clear picture on count, but I don't know where you're planning on starting your count.
Yeah, well, I was just going to start. So I'm just going to start at this lowest low right here because it looks like this was just that first pump and then coming down. We can keep this in our analysis, but it doesn't necessarily change that next wave 3 target at all. It's almost the exact same price. So we're just going to skip over this and just try to look for the first 5 wave impulse that has formed from this low here. So this low was at 11 cents. And over here, it got down to, and I think that was low. Okay, yeah, so that was a new low here around 11 cents. So we're going to start right there. From that low, I'm just going to map out that 5-wave structure like I just said. So we have wave 1 coming up there. Wave 2 is that first retracing wave 1. And then we have wave 3 here, and we know it's wave 3 now because just check out that RSI, and it hit the 1618 almost perfectly at 3.25. So this is that textbook target for wave 3. It had a wave 4 after that, and then wave 5, which perfectly targeted that 618 extension, which is also the textbook target for wave 5 up there. So this is a full, a complete full 5-wave structure. Once we have a 5-wave structure like this with this bearish divergence on the RSI where the price made a new high, but the RSI did not make a new high, higher than this high over here, we can assume that the market is going to head into a major correction. We know that from Elliott wave theory to be wave 2. So after this top here, we're expecting this to be wave 2. And now that we're down at these lower levels, it's almost confirmed to be a wave 2 now. So, so a lot of my fibs are clustering here. It's a little hard to see, but here is, keep in mind, this is Bitfinex, and because of the price discrepancies across exchanges, these macro support levels could be a little bit different. So make sure that you have the retracements for the exchange that you're trading on so those are accurate for you. But right now, XRP is currently underneath the 618 support. So this 618 support on Bitfinex and Binance is at $1.47. So this is really the textbook target for a wave 2. But we know that wave 2 can come as low as a double bottom and still be valid. Typically, we can track the subwaves of this wave 2 coming down to get a better understanding of where it's going to be targeting. This flush in October just missed the next fib, which is at the 786 support on Bitfinex around 87 cents. And so right now, since it's underneath that $1.47 and it hasn't come back up above that as support, it's using that $1.47 as resistance. So as long as we are under the $1.47, we still have valid targets at that 87 cent level, which is a 786 retrace and perfectly okay for a wave 2. So as long as we are around these levels and as long as it finds support around these levels, we can assume that wave 3 is next. Wave 3 has targets upwards of, let's lock this and see. So wave 3 has targets right now currently targeting at 674. This is that 1618, which is the textbook target for wave 3. And I just want to point out that this wave 3 right here reached that 1618 as well. In the past, XRP has pushed to as high as a 4618 during wave 3. So when that,
and what is that? What is that extension using as the low? Are you at the current low, or are you putting that to the 87 cents?
Let's see. I think it's 87 cents. Yeah. So I have this measured with the 87 cents target. So, and this will be remeasured with the actual low that the price makes. Just for right now, I have it right at our target. And Cass is going to take you through the lower time frames in this wave 2 to show you why there's so much confluence and so many fibs clustering right around that 87 cent level. So it's just more providing more confirmation that that is going to be the target. So again, so after it does finish for wave 2, we are targeting a wave 3 next, which is why this wave 2 is getting really exciting, because we know what's going to be coming. And this is why we've been saying that we should be laddering at these macro support levels. That 618, 786, or even that 0.5 was a really good buy up there at $1.88. We should be laddering on all of these macro levels, filling up as much as we can as it reaches these supports, so that we can take full opportunity of this next wave coming. So this is that textbook target for wave 3 next. And like I said, this will be adjusted with the actual lows. So on a macro scale, XRP is doing really well. It's actually, even though we have retraced and are planning on it retracing 78%, this is like, nothing is going out of a normal market structure, normal market cycle, and what is happening now is expected. So on a macro scale, this is looking nice, and Cassie's going to take us further into these subwaves, like I said, to just show you what's going on, on a smaller time frame, but also show you why we're targeting that 87 cent level.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so Tar right now is just kind of showing that macro view, how we are currently in our wave 2 and about to kick off for a wave 3. Tar, can you share your other wave 3 extensions? Because this is surely going to extend above the 1618. So let's see what you have for 2618, 3618, 4618. And we need to remember that the wave 3 can go to any extension level until the market proves to the algorithms that it's exhausted. So any one of these extensions can be reached. As we start to break up towards the extensions, we should get some subwaves that help us pinpoint which one we're headed to. So if anyone is saying that they know which extension this could go to, they're literally lying, because no one knows which extension this is going to head to. There's nothing determining or pinpointing that.
Once it does start to kick off, we're going to track the 5 full subwaves, which will be present within that wave 3. So after like probably the wave 3 of that wave 3, we'll get a better understanding of where the wave 3 is going to finish. So because it hasn't even finished wave 2 yet and kicked off for wave 3, that's why we're saying that's why we're just projecting in the future. We're trying to figure out and be just optimistic about which target it's going to be reaching. So this is that 1618 conservative target at 674. This is the level that I'm targeting just because I'm conservative. But Cassie thinks it can extend, and if it's going to be during that wave. So we have the next extension up at 1028. Which is that 2618. This is also
closer. I like that one better.
This is also possible on that next wave 3, and then 3618 at $13.82, and then I didn't do the 4618. So let's add that for
so
for
the
Cassie.
Highest that you think. Okay, the highest that you think is
the highest that I think is $1.68. I mean, the 1618 at 674. Okay. Yeah, I do
you
think
that's
so.
Not going to extend then? You think it's, I think that you've been, I think that what this past price action has done has really lowered your
It has, because we've been so optimistic about XRP, and a lot of times it hasn't even pushed. I mean, it definitely hasn't extended that high. Like I said, in the beginning, we have seen wave 3 push to 4618, but lately it hasn't been able to push or extend past targets, and it's really just following textbook targets. So yeah, I mean, I'd love for it to just blow past these, obviously, because XRP we know has a great future, and these are very low prices for XRP and for what it is. But yeah, so right now I just want to target the conservative target, because like I said, in the past, we were just optimistic about it and it didn't extend. So I'm just cautiously optimistic. But yeah, so like I said, we'll watch it as it forms, and I'm hoping it does break past that. I'm going to, in Cassie, we're going to let it just push as high as it can during wave 3 and let it develop as much as it can. And then we're going to track that wave 4 and probably be selling at the top of the 5th. So we're not, depending on how high it goes, I guess, but we're not planning necessarily to take profits on wave 3. I'm waiting for that 5th wave, which means that it's completely exhausted. The trend is ending. It'll be the end of the cycle. And hopefully with that bearish divergence for extra confirmation that that was the top. And that's really what I'm waiting for to sell some of my XRP, which I'm just going to be probably buying enough to get a vacation home and a couple of cars, but I'm leaving most of it in there for just to let it ride, because like I said, this is just too low of prices for the future, for what this, what XRP is doing to the future of finance.
We do have a few questions. If XRP has found its low in our wave 2, what does that do to our wave 3 targets up above?
Yeah, so that would, it wouldn't really change it that much. And so that's why I say that, because I would be using the low that it's already made. And with that flush has already come to $1. So we would be using the low that it's made currently at $1, which is bringing that 1618 to 678. And if we have it at 87 cents, it's 664. So it really doesn't do much for our wave 3 target. We just have to let the rest of these last little waves develop. And then hopefully once it starts kicking off, this is what we can expect on that next wave probably. So.
And when do we, so it doesn't really adjust them a little bit much. It kind of raises them a little bit.
It would raise it a little bit, but only like 5 cents. Yeah.
10 cents.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when do we see wave 3 kicking off? This year? This month?
Well, I definitely, I don't know about this month, but I definitely think we're going to be pushing, testing the last all-time high for sure this year, if not breaking past the last all-time high at 365. So I do think the wave 3 is going to start, and it starts as soon as wave 2 finishes. So, but it's not going to get really exciting like what people think of as like the bull run or the huge run. It's not going to get super exciting until wave 3 of that wave 3. And that's when everybody thinks is like the bull run. So, when it does first begin, we're looking for wave 1, and then we still need a wave 2 correction after wave 1, which could retrace all of that first part of that new trend. So once it does, potentially. So when it does kick off at first, it's not necessarily going to be the excitement that everybody's looking for, but we still get some good indications that it is on a new trend. And then once we come up to test the all-time high there at 365 is when, it is, I think it could take a few months, definitely. So we have quite a bit of waves that have to form, lots of resistance that has to break up until the last all-time high. But breaking above the all-time high, I think, should be this year.
Yeah.
We have another question. Is there a chance that XRP could flash crash to 30 cents before the next leg up? And unfortunately, yes, there is that doom scenario right now on XRP and on Bitcoin, really, because this wave 2 is the deepest retrace of the entire market cycle. What that means for XRP is the lowest it can go during this wave 2 would be that 30 cents. And hopefully it doesn't. And we are finding alignment on the support levels above that. Like I said, around that 786 level, we're finding quite a bit of alignment there, which is at 87 cents. It doesn't have to go to the 30 cents all the way down to a double bottom for a wave 2. So hopefully Bitcoin can finish, and then XRP can just finish up that last wave, little bit that it has to go. And hopefully that's enough support to kick us off onto wave 3.
Yeah. Once I get zoomed in here on the micro of XRP, it'll help give a little bit more clues to where and when we could be finishing this wave 2.
Yeah.
But just kind of like what you said, wave 2 technically can go and make a double bottom. It doesn't mean that it will, but that is the most extreme a wave 2 can go. The targets for a wave 2 really have already been reached. The 618 is the major retracement target. We're breaking down past that. heading towards a 786, and on some exchanges it's actually towards a 854.
Yeah.
So we're getting already very deep levels for a wave two. Wave two is the deepest correction in the market cycle. So there is that chance that as we come down to those supports that we get some kind of deep wick, kind of eliminating all leverage positions before we really take off. So we definitely have to be prepared for that. I think all buys should just be spot buys until we get that confirmation of a bottom. But yeah.
Especially because we know what's coming next. They're trying to get people out of the market. They want as many people out as possible before it pushes up to wave three. So we have to sit tight, stay strong, and just trust the market, trust XRP in the future, and we know what's coming next. So there's a lot of fear and emotions that come into play during a wave two, and that's happening now. That's also when we start to see bottoms, is when the entire market is in extreme fear. So I think we're very close to bottoming, and hopefully that when that next support level is reached, hopefully that's enough support to kick us off onto wave three. Hi, Future Kind. Thank you for being our only supporter on Instagram. He's the only one that has been liking all of our stuff. So
I love that.
Thank you for joining us here on YouTube and on our Friday live
and on X. I see him on X as well.
Yeah, thank you.
All around.
So, yeah. And I think we're gonna stop Instagram, right? Or what's our plan with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We
also have a TikTok that we haven't done anything with.
So let's get zoomed in.
Wait, we had another question too.
Okay.
So the macro wave 5, someone asked if it will be equal or higher than wave 3 and not less. So yes, anytime we're measuring the wave 5, that always targets a 618 extension, which is slightly above a wave 3.
Right.
But depending on how deep wave 4 corrects wave 3, we might just get a double top in there. So definitely should be at least equal the high of wave 3 or slightly higher. And by then, by the time we're projecting a wave 5, we will have a lot of subwaves to go off of. So normally that one is very distinct and easily identified for a wave 5.
Yeah, and so the thing is if wave 3 heavily extends, like Cassie is hoping or expecting, XRP,
everyone is
hoping to happen.
Everyone's
on this
hoping,
wave 3.
not just me.
If it extends heavily, or really at all, if it extends on that wave 3, there's a high chance or high probability that wave 5 will just double top. Because wave 5 definitely doesn't have enough momentum as wave 3, and so it probably won't have enough strength to push to a new high even past that extended wave 3. So if it does extend heavily on the wave 3 top, then and a lot of times, even after measuring the 618 extension for the fifth wave, with an extended wave 3, oftentimes the 618 will even be at the double top as well. So like Cassie said, by the time we get closer to that wave 5, and typically anytime we're measuring a wave 5, that is a very solid target with high conviction. Because by that time we've already done the wave 3, we've already retraced for wave 4, and we're going to just come up and test that last high. But at that time, it'll be at the top of the cycle, obviously. So
a lot of signals that we'll get in that last
lots of Friday lives until that happens. So you guys won't be left in the dust on this. So we'll let you know when we're selling. So.
Yeah. Okay. So let's flip over to XRP Micro, which is the short time frame. If you guys missed earlier, we're going to go to XRP Micro, then we'll get into Bitcoin, and then we'll get into altcoins, do a recap, and then close this out. So let's flip over to my screen here. Let me hide my watch list. I'm going to try to get zoomed in. First, actually, let me start zoomed out, and then I'll get to my normal 1 hour time frame. I'm normally on the 1 hour. So this is the all-time high here at our wave 5 high that Tara just explained. And from there, we're coming down into a wave 2. So some things on this high time frame that you can take away from this is there's really no pattern. The pattern is really unclear. Normally, we would be looking for an ABC pattern here in our wave 2. I've done my best to do that, to mark that out, and it's just very messy and unclear. We know it's a wave 2 because we are breaking down below the 0.5 retracement and heading to really deep retracement levels. So this is clearly a wave 2, but our pattern is pretty much non-existent. Anytime that you can't see or identify a pattern, the best thing to do is always look for the previous wave 3 that's really visible on your chart. Normally wave 3s are really easy to identify. So once you see your last wave 3, then you can get a good count from there. And that's what I've done here. So we have this very clear wave 3.
Oh, sorry, Cass, I don't want to cut you off.
Okay.
But can we zoom out a little bit more and show that flush that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, is it that flush right there?
Yeah,
okay.
This is on Coinbase. So that flush actually wasn't as deep as some of the other exchanges. Just like Tara mentioned, exchanges are slightly different. Like we have a group of Bitfinex, Binance, KuCoin. They're all kind of in the same group where they had a really deep flush. And then there's Coinbase, which flush actually was not that strong. And so our retracements are a little bit different on exchanges. A big call out is that when you talk about this 786 holding, the retracement holding for this wave 2, that's actually an 854 retracement on Coinbase. They're the same price at 87 cents, but they're different retracement levels. So that just goes to show that our fib supports are a little bit different across exchanges. Make sure you are putting the fib supports on the exchange that you plan to trade or buy on, because that's going to be really important. Even though right now they're definitely both aligned.
Yeah, they're both, all of the exchanges are aligning right at that 87-cent level, no matter what the discrepancies are. So
yeah. So now let's get a little bit more zoomed in. This is the last 5-wave structure that I'm tracking. And it's because we have this very clear wave 3 right here. As we were starting to come down towards the 618 retracement, which is that textbook target for wave 2, we actually had a very strong sell pressure come through. So this wave 3 here created a very deep sell pressure on the RSI, which is actually the deepest sell pressure that we've seen in a few years on XRP. Yeah. So this was very strong. It's very clearly a wave 3. So from there, we can get a good count. So from there, it's, I guess, less important where the 2 and 1 are. We're definitely looking more towards the right where it's most important. So we are tracking that wave 4 after we have that big flush come down. I'm going to get zoomed in on that in a second. And because we had that big flush coming down for wave 3, normally the market doesn't pivot when we signal that much sell pressure. Normally the market will have to come down and test that low again or make a slight new low before taking off. And in that new low, we definitely want to confirm that we're having bullish divergence instead of this super strong sell pressure. Otherwise, the algorithms will indicate that there's more liquidity down there that they can track and target and scoop up. Yeah. So normally I'm in on the 1 hour. So I'm going to get zoomed in here and try to get this a little bit more to scale. Okay, so this is that last 5 wave that we're looking at. Anytime the market completes a 5-wave structure, we would expect some reverse reaction. So we see a really clear 5-wave pattern coming down, building down. And so far it's hitting fibs really clearly. So this is what I'm tracking. I'm expecting with this last final wave down, our wave 5, to create a big reaction in the market. And I don't know where this 5-wave fits, like in the larger wave 2, it just doesn't make sense. But still, this is what the market's giving us. So I'm going with it right now. And we are aligning with the subways of this to that 87 cents. So just a little bit more zoomed in here then. This is that big flush that we had for our wave 3. And then we would expect a wave 4 coming up. So that wave 4 has already reached its targets. It's already reached the 382 textbook target as well as the 0.5 retracement. So really, most of the market should be done and out of the market. No traders left. They should have already taken profit if they were buying this wave 4, which is why I think the market is kind of stalled at this point.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of traders participating right now or algorithms because they should be out of the market. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. And really, as we have developed, we've spent 35 days now in this wave 4, and it has just been Absolutely
Brutal.
agonizing. Yeah, brutal.
So don't you think that this wave 4 is taking too much time to be the sub wave 4, or do you think it's still in line with that? Like, what do you think about that time? Why it's taking so long? Not why, but the fact that it is.
Definitely with the timing and the pattern that we're seeing here, it's very clearly a wave 4.
Yeah.
Normally this is like the type of pattern we would see in a wave 4, so I think that that's okay. But one thing that we do have to keep in mind is that when a wave 4 extends heavily in time, a lot of times we can actually fail that last fifth wave because the market time is technically a correction as well, not just price. So if we continue to hold for a considerable amount of time and we don't have the sell pressure we need to come down to supports, we could start to kick off from here. So, you don't want to scare anyone with that, like they've missed out, because there's no missing out. We have a really solid plan. But that's just something to keep in mind, that if a wave 4 starts to extend in time, that's sometimes when we can get our failed fifth wave, because the market gave it enough time and chance to reach that lower support and it could. So that's really the only thing. I don't think it's going on too long for the pattern that we see here. I still think it's okay, and just it is kind of agonizing, but still okay.
And it almost just shows how critical of a moment this is right now, because we just looked at that macro time frame, and we're sitting right at a 618 retrace, which is the textbook target for this entire correction. So it's fighting right now to hold that major support on that macro time frame, and it's displaying as sideways action. Yeah, this is a very intense moment. We are entering a major shift just on that macro, the higher scale. So this is going to take a little bit. And like Cassie said, the longer that it holds here, the more support it's going to build right at this level. So, Cass, maybe you can continue and show, how those are aligning at the 87-cent level, for that next wave down, but also show us what you're looking for to confirm the end or the start of that new trend and the end of the correction. What would you be looking for, there?
Okay, yeah. So because this had such strong sell pressure, we're definitely expecting another wave down, which would be the wave 5 finishing up this impulse down. And just like you mentioned, this is an intense time because we have our macro fibs here, and we are slightly below the 618. But on the larger time frame, this technically means that our wave 2 has reached target. So we have reached that 618. This 618 level here was a very strong level where people should have bought in or started to accumulate. It doesn't have to go any lower. The only reason we think that it is majorly is because of the pattern and the strong sell momentum that came in here. So
and Bitcoin as well. And we know Bitcoin drives the market. We'll get into that in a little bit. But if Bitcoin is heading for a new low, then that's going to help XRP with that last wave. And it's also lining up with one more wave down. So so a lot of, like Cassie said, a lot of things are lining up for that one more low. But on a higher time frame, XRP doesn't have to go much lower. It doesn't really. So
okay, so our plan hasn't changed. The overall plan is that we're buying at these major levels. So we have the 618 that we're obviously below. I bought that level and I have no regrets. But then, because really, like we just said, it could take off and you would have want to have bought that level once we really see our wave 3 coming. But then down below, we have the 786 on Coinbase is actually $1.09. So it is different than Binance and Bitfinex. Still a support that we could get to on Coinbase and take off from. But our pattern is suggesting lower, and so are the other exchanges. So it is still a possibility that we just come down to that $1.09 and take off. But our pattern is definitely suggesting we come to 854 support on Coinbase, which is the 87 cents. I have my buy right now at 93 cents, which is kind of a well-rounded price that's going to capture this cluster of targets that are coming down there, projecting down there. So I just don't want to miss out. I don't want to put it at 87 cents and miss it by like a penny. That would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So really, guys, as we start to come down and break $1, any price that you can get in below $1 is a gift, is a gift to you. So don't try to chase the exact bottom of this. Just stay well-rounded and put a buy down there. Like I said, I have mine at 93 cents. So I think that we will come down to there. The bullish side, so not reaching down supports, that would just mean taking off from the low that we already had. The next bullish sign would be breaking above the 618. So if we start to break above $1.65, that would start to flip our plan here a little bit. So if we break up above $1.65, we could head towards that $1.77 area or $1.78. It's a major level here on Coinbase as well as other exchanges. So what we're thinking, and never chase that breakout candle. You want it to break out above resistance and come back down to test as support. So if we start to get a breakout, we could above $1.65, we could be seeing $1.78 before we start to come back down and test $1.65 as support. That's going to be our major signal to buy, and that our bottom is already in. So right now we have no signs that we are about to break resistance. In fact, this last, let me get in zoomed in a little bit more. We saw exciting price action today where it came up to like $1.44-ish area, or $1.45 even. And you can see price did try to break the consolidation. But look at how nicely RSI held resistance. So as we were starting to break up, I was watching this RSI and I was fully not convinced that was a breakout, because you could see we never broke momentum on that breakout. That had no momentum as we were creeping up in price. So definitely still in the plan that we could come down to that 87 cents.
The fact that it's lower than means that wasn't enough. And the fact that it hasn't kicked off onto wave 3 yet, it's obvious that it didn't get enough support from just that 6.
This one over here.
So, and hopefully it does come down and we can just buy more XRP at a really good price. Even though my average is like under 30 cents, I'm not worried about buying at 87 cents at all, because we know what's coming, and I want to be just take advantage of that full opportunity up to at least $7. Hopefully more.
So I don't think someone asked if 589 was possible. I don't see 589 in the charts. $5.89 possibly.
Okay,
but not.
I was going to say 589. Yeah,
no,
we don't see it in the charts yet. Maybe a decade from now we'll see that in the charts.
But it is very possible. We have our first extension at 2618 at $10 and even $13. Those are very possible prices in this next breakout. And still pretty conservative, because that's just a 2618 and 3618. Like Tara mentioned earlier, XRP has gone to like a 4618 in the past. So we could definitely extend, and we should extend on this next breakout. But just like you were saying, how the fact that we haven't kicked off a wave 3 yet just really strengthens the idea that we need to reach support in order for price to be able to break above the resistance. So I'm definitely still waiting for that support down below. And the major signal that we're looking for is our support touch down below to either be like a double bottom or slight new low to our 87 cents, even $1.09. I'm watching both areas. And we want that to hold a bullish divergence. That's going to be our next best signal that the bottom is in. We definitely don't want to see another flush come in where we're getting really strong sell pressure. So that's going to be the next signal that we're looking for, is that we're making either a slight new low in price or even double bottom potentially. And that RSI is still heavily bullish. So right now you can see that on the RSI, we are building out a really good bullish trend. Hopefully we continue to keep this trend as price creeps down towards our support. So
So nothing has changed. And the price is just going sideways. And a lot of people are like, oh, you've been saying these targets for how long? But it's like the market hasn't. It's the that has changed is time. It's just been going sideways. So we need a new level to be reached. And the level that we're targeting, obviously, is the 87-cent level.
Yeah, and those don't change.
So, and those don't change if there's no price change. So, so we have high conviction of that level being targeted before we really kick off.
Yeah, we have many reasons really to believe that that's going to be reached.
Yeah.
And the wave 3 should be very, very obvious. Like we should have no time or no struggle breaking above the first resistance, which is what we're seeing right now.
And no question that it's on that new trend. It should really break
be very obvious
past resistances very quickly. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So time frame with this is so difficult. Yeah. I keep saying every single week that like I said, this is our 35th day in this wave 4. So we've been saying for 3 weeks now that this is the week, but we are ending this consolidation. So one good sign and clue for timing right now is we have a clear consolidation that's built, and the apex of the consolidation gives us a good timing. So the apex right now is about a week out. And the price doesn't have to travel all the way to the apex. It's just as price is approaching the apex, it gives more of a chance of that breakout. So I think within the next week, we should start to see signs either breaking above our $1.65 resistance or coming down to support. And I know I say that every single week, but this pattern is definitely suggesting that within the next week, we should see some price action come off of this. And like I said, it doesn't have to travel all the way to the apex. It just gives it more and more of a chance that we will have a strong breakout as it approaches us. Almost like it's condensing or coiling up tighter and tighter as we reach the apex, so we get a big spring reaction out of that.
Yeah.
So this is definitely not a time to be selling and waiting for any lower. Like we just said, all of these levels that we're mentioning are actually buy levels. Even the 618 that we are below, this is a major target for wave 2. And definitely as we're zoomed in, you can see we're below that. But there is a chance on the macro time frame that this was the target for wave 2, and we could take off into wave 3 at any time. But as we're zoomed in, our pattern that we're getting on the small time frames is definitely suggesting we need another touch of support. So don't take the chance and sell waiting for lower. Just try to pick up any lower if you can. We've now had 34 days to prepare to buy for any lower. So definitely if you have anything left, try to buy. Just to try to average in and get in on this party if you didn't already buy the 6 and 8. If you don't have anything left, any money left to buy down below, just hold tight. I wouldn't be selling trying to capture any lower.
Right. Sell targets we just showed you are up at that wave 3 target level at that 1618 at 7. So these are not sell levels. These are just levels to be adding or buying. And if you don't have any XRP right now, just go buy some, because right now, like Cassie said, we're at such a pivotal moment. A huge market shift is coming, and we've said this many times, we don't know how you're sleeping at night if you don't have just any XRP right now. So just go, don't buy all, if you don't have any, don't buy, all of your money's worth, like we're saying. Maybe just have a quarter or a half of your bag packed and still have some waiting for that lower level if you want to do it right. So, because I just saw on Twitter that someone just entered XRP, like just this week. Which is so crazy to me. I know, a really good buy. They completely skipped like the entire correction that we've been in, all this mess, and they got in really at the most ideal time they could have gotten in. So So.
And like I said, they could buy right now if they don't have any, and either wait for that lower support to be reached, or if we start to get signs of our breakout, the buy is at $1.65, which we'll get some signs of that if we do actually get that breakout. So.
So exciting. So should we head over to Bitcoin and take a look at the macro there, or do you have any questions, or does the chat have any questions? Okay,
I don't think so. I think we've answered all the questions over here. Like at the end of this stream, we're going to come back and recap this if you guys missed any of it. So let's get over to Bitcoin and take a look at where that is. Do you have it, the chart updated for that?
Yeah, I mean, I can go through the Bitcoin chart.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
I'm going to flip to you.
Okay.
Let's see it.
Yes.
I know Bitcoin is like your baby. Every time I look at it, I'm like, why? I just can't even look at the chart.
And should we do Binance?
Yeah, let's do Binance.
Okay. I mean, I know it's going to be the best for the exchange, but my chart is a little messy.
Try to do a little bit of like the macro, but I don't want to be like so redundant in our live streams. I think that we should definitely zoom in and see kind of where we're at, even though nothing has majorly changed. But definitely nothing has changed on the macro. So
so here is the monthly time frame. So again, I'm zoomed out completely so I can see the entire market in one frame. So this is giving us a really good view of the market positioning and where we are right now. And so where we are right now is right here under all these fibs. But you can see that we're right at the macro 0.5 support right here. So the reason why the market is so divided right now is because the last high here only reached a 1618. If you've been following us for a while, I've been tracking, and we've been tracking this drop here as a subwave 4, not subwave 4, as a macro wave 4, as the highest time frame wave 4 here, and it cannot drop below this level here, which is where my arrow is, and it just recently dipped below that level, invalidating it as a wave 4. You can see the top there only reached that 1618 level, so this is causing just a fight in the market of is this going to hold above this macro 0.5 level, or are we going to break down further? So that's what we're watching for now. So
and it really only broke down the 0.5 with just a wick, right? Like the closes were almost right there at the 0.5, and it's above the 0.5 right now. That always makes it so difficult with analysis because the 0.5 level, staying above that keeps us into wave 4 bullish correction territories. Breaking below 0.5 helps us validate that we're on a wave 2. So just like we're seeing on XRP where it's very clearly a wave 2, Bitcoin is really difficult right now because it really has held that 0.5 level, which is pretty neutral between our corrections. So I just wanted to point that out a little more. It was just a tiny little wick of invalidation, but we could start to kick off from here and head up to like a wave 5 from here.
So we've mentioned these scenarios so many times, but Bitcoin is in between a fight right now of it being that macro wave 4 completed and we're on wave 5, or is it on just a subwave of a larger, deeper correction to come? And right now it's fighting exactly between both of those scenarios and keeping both of them valid at this moment. So like Cassie said, as long as we are above this 0.5 fib here, then it's not decided. It's an indecisive time in the market right now. Definitely not a time to be trading. We don't have confirmation of it being on that 5th wave yet, or confirmation of it being on that wave 2 down to lower levels yet. So we're right in between, and we're right at that fight where any deviation in price right now is going to confirm either scenario. So that's just how critical of a moment this is on Bitcoin, because it's about to confirm or deny one of those scenarios. So and we're too zoomed out right now. Cass, are you going to be zooming in, or do you want me to?
Yeah, okay. I can do that.
Okay. Well, just in a little bit, not right now, but when Cassie does take you in further, she's going to kind of show you what we're expecting as far as the subwaves go, because a lot of times we can look to those subwaves to get a better understanding of which wave it is, what the market position is at the moment, and that's going to be really critical to what we're thinking right now. So, and actually, maybe I will zoom in a little bit because I want to show.
And while we're on the macro time frame, let's talk about both of those like larger scenarios where if Bitcoin is on a wave 4, it would just come up for that wave 5, which is a slight new high. And that target would be about 155,000, right?
Well, actually, so no. So if this was a wave 4 here, using this last low for wave 4, we've measured the 618 extension, and we had so this one is for if it reaches the lower. So I will show the 618 extension. If this is the wave 4, we're using the bottom that it's already created, and that brings the 618 to 135,000.
135. Okay.
Yeah. So
just a slight new high.
Just a slight new high.
Yeah. All of us are hoping it's not a slight new high, because if Bitcoin is on just a wave 5 next, it will really drag the altcoins, because a wave 5 is really labored and difficult to reach higher prices. It would be really nice if Bitcoin can come down and confirm it's on a wave 2, so that everything kind of comes up for a wave 3 together. That's the ideal scenario.
So right now, if it is in a wave 4, so right now, if it is in a wave 4, we really aren't too optimistic either on Bitcoin, because like we just said, we're going to be capping at 135,000. After that, Bitcoin will be heading into a much deeper correction after that, down to lower levels around 20,000. So that's the scenario if this 0.5 level holds and it's validating a wave 4 still. So if Bitcoin can come down and break down below the 0.5 and reach the 618 support, we know that the 618 can be enough support to push an asset onto wave 3 next. So hopefully, because it is so close, and hopefully during this wave now we're coming up, we can come down and scoop up that support so that we can break these resistances and push off to wave 3 next, which will be much higher targets, somewhere upwards of 250,000. So hopefully, like we've mentioned this so many times, but if it does turn around here, we're heading into major resistances. If it can break down now, scoop up those supports at these lower macro levels around 52,000, then then it should have enough support momentum to break past these resistances there. So interestingly enough, if it does come down and scoop up the 618 support here at 52.2, which we have, you can see here, so many fibs lining up right at that level. This is just building more and more support the longer we continue here. So there's lots of support right at that level. We've measured the wave 3 coming next at that 250, I think it's like 244,000 would be that wave 3 target. Wave 1 of that wave 3 is equaling a double top as well. So even if it comes down and scoops up the support here, we're looking still at major resistance at a double top, really no matter what. And then we'd be looking for a smaller retrace after that. And then the next attempt at the all-time high is when we would break it up to new highs. So
and really, that's always kind of expected, is that as we start to approach a double top in any market, a lot of traders will take profit at a double top. So we always get some type of reaction, and it's that second test that would break it. But just what you're kind of pointing out is you think that the timing could kind of be extended a little bit more until we get to that wave 3 of 3, which is what you said on XRP as well. Definitely could happen. I'm hoping that it's much faster than in the past, because I think you were showing that it was like 9 weeks we were ranging even after hitting our low, and I
even
definitely
after
don't
hitting
want
the bottom. So and even right here during Bitcoin's last wave 2, this is months. This is after it reached that target at the 786 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 months just ranging sideways right at the level. So that's not what we want to see. But that has happened in the past. It can happen again. So hopefully it doesn't. But it's definitely a possibility. So but yeah, that's kind of what we have to watch out for going next. So I think Cass, maybe you can still take this in further into the subwaves here and just show us what we're expecting and why we think it could come down, hopefully, to the 618 next.
Okay, so I'm definitely zoomed in here. This is the 1 hour time frame, and we're tracking this C wave down. So on Bitcoin, we have a much stronger pattern than we're seeing on XRP. And is this, so I'm on the 1 hour. and my RSI is a little bit wonky, but still overall a good trend here. And with our wave 4, there really isn't a whole lot to look on the RSI. We're not getting good consolidation here on Bitcoin. But what's interesting is both XRP and Bitcoin are in some kind of wave 4. On Bitcoin, it's definitely more clear that it's wave 4 of wave C, which would need a final 5th wave down. XRP is on like some kind of 5 wave in who knows what in the market cycle.
It always does that. It goes to the market, and yeah, and when Bitcoin to target, it'll be off like that all the time.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'll start a little bit more zoomed out. So this is our wave 4 or wave 2. Like we said, we don't know exactly yet.
Or from the all-time high, right? Is that
yeah, from the
there?
all-time high. Yeah. I definitely think it is a wave 2 because our pattern is definitely more of an ABC pattern than a consolidation, which would mean that we need to come down to that 618 at 50 to 52,000. So that is the pattern that I have marked out here. And it's playing out pretty nicely. We have a good B wave interrupting the pattern here, and then a pretty strong 5 wave down from there. And that's helped me strengthen the pattern over on XRP, where I'm looking at that 5 wave down. So we have a very clear wave 3 right here in the pattern, and then we are on wave 4. I've zoomed out to the 4-hour a little bit to see the pattern. Let me zoom in just a little bit more here. So this is slightly above a 382 retracement, which is the typical target for wave 4. So wave 4 has already come to target. Just like we saw in XRP, Bitcoin's wave 4 has already came to target.
Yep.
And what we saw here was what happened pretty much today, where we had that good fake out. But look at our RSI. Like this was not a strong breakout. This is the clue that we need to look for. Whenever we get a strong breakout, look to the RSI because it will likely tell you what that momentum is looking like.
Right.
And a lot of times candles can bring emotion that is really not actually there or true. So
no strength in this pump from so
right. So
hoping it was going to reach the 0.5 fib though at least.
Yeah, up here. Yeah. So what we're pretty much seeing is a double top here for wave 4. But what I want to do is kind of measure this out as a subwave 2 of wave 5 coming down.
Okay.
I want to see what that looks like and see if we can get just a 3rd point of confirmation down towards these levels down here.
Here's your 618 for the 5th.
It is right here at 50,300.
Okay. Is that using the
Yep, the high that we had there. So I have the markers. Oh, let me hide this.
Just say 50,000?
Nope, right here at the 74, whatever.
618, sorry, the 618.
Oh yeah, 50,600 area. So low 50,000s.
Okay, so that's still lining up nicely with the macro 618. And I just remembered my 618. I also measured it at the 0.5 fib retrace up, and that was landing at 52. So yeah, so I was just curious if there was a oh no, and this is Binance. So yeah, so the same prices. I didn't realize you were on Binance as well. Sorry.
We have the larger 618 on my chart at 49,000 or 50,000, and then subways right now are a little bit higher, up about 52,000. Yeah. So I think either one of these could be reached. If you are trying to buy Bitcoin, I would add in a hefty buffer, like even 53,000, just to make sure that you capture this. And we'll also be looking to Bitcoin reaching these prices, probably aligning when XRP comes down to that 87 cents. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So we have one second point on the subwaves aligning towards that level. So our macro 618, which like we said, would definitely lean towards this being a wave 2, which puts targets above at like 240 to 50,000. So very good if we can come down to here and not just take off from this 0.5. But what I want to do while we're here zoomed in is get our subwave count of our wave 5, because this should also break down into 5 waves. And it could help us get a 2nd or 3rd confirmation of this level down here. So first I'm going to put in our markers here, just generally place them so you guys can see what I'm measuring.
Wave 2, it didn't high.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's why. And then also look at our RSI. It's
Yeah.
just heavily exhausted. It's not like it was a big breakout wave. So I think that that was our wave two. It was pretty much a double top, which is still okay for a wave two. So I'm going to consider that our wave two, and then we'll get our wave three, four, and five. And what we want to see is that our fifth wave is aligning towards this level also, just to give that second or third point of confirmation. So
like fourth, fifth
yeah,
confirmation.
I know.
Up.
They are. Okay, so I'm going to hide my drawings here, and I'm just going to generally place them, but you really should be putting in the actual prices here if you want more exact, but this will give us a good clue of what we're seeing down below. So I just put my trend-based fib extension in, and then I'm going to put in our wave three targets. So we're looking at 1618, 2618. Those are very common for Bitcoin. Either one of those can be reached. So you can see our 1618. If we do only come down to our 1618 at 60,500, we'll likely just have that short back test of the 63.8, which is our 0.5 as resistance before coming down. But we also have the possibility of having a pretty strong drop here towards our 2618, which is at 52,100. So this fib here really sets up a bottom at our 50,000, because a lot of times we would look for our wave three to come really close to the target, have that bounce to pull up our RSI, and then make that final low. So I'm going to do it towards the 2618.
Okay. Interestingly, on my chart, I have so many fibs and support lined up that double bottom. So it's interesting that that wave three could target the double bottom, like you said, and then come up and back test the 0.5 and then drop further. So that's like 2618 is lining up nicely.
Yeah, they're both aligning nicely.
Yeah, the 1-to-1 fib for the full wave C, so just measuring wave C to equal wave A, is exactly 52.2. So, and so the fact that this 2618 is lining up there means that there could be a strong reaction right at that level. We have to watch that level closely once it does come down towards that level. It's so close to the 18, so I would for it to reach the level at that 49,000, even are lining up a little bit higher. So we really should be scooping up that major max support and have enough momentum to up resistance. Sorry, guys, I was just curious because both of those two fibs that you've measured, I have on my chart just different waves. So that was interesting there.
Both of them are very significant levels. That's definitely what this is telling us. But these are the subwaves that are still trying to get down towards our macro level there. So we have to keep that in mind. Sometimes these can get thrown off a little bit. Most likely they do extend because it's a subwave that is trying to reach. The larger pull in the market is the 50 to 52,000. So this is where we're trying to get, and this is how the market will get there. What's interesting, though, is our 1618 here on Binance is pretty much like a double bottom. You can see that it matches almost exactly there. We can come down to that level, back test as resistance, and continue to head down for more of an extended fifth wave. Or our wave three extends very close to our fib here. We get a break of the of that downside into our wave four, which back tests our previous bottom as resistance, and then heads down. So our final fib that we need here is this fifth wave. So let me zoom out just a little bit. Going to measure out that final fifth wave, and we're just going to see or make sure that there's good alignment towards our bottom target, which I'm assuming there is just based on where all of these are right now. Yeah, how they're lining up. And then our 0.5. Okay, so definitely what you can see here is you just saw how our 0.5 extension is perfectly at the 618. It's right here. So this is definitely the possibility here. I don't think it's going to come as low as 46,000. I think it would just come to that more exhausted wave 5 target at 0.5. So in this plane here, these are the subwaves of what we could be seeing for this final wave down. So hopefully that made things a little bit more clear. It shouldn't be one straight drop, but our next drop could be pretty strong coming close towards that fib, which would send XRP to that 87 cents. So we definitely need to watch out for that. What we could see is in this strong drop for wave 3, we see XRP down towards like the dollar, because the dollar is a really strong psychological level, maybe down towards a dollar, coming up to get a little bit relief, and then coming down to our 87 cents for our final low. That's a good alignment between Bitcoin and XRP as we're zoomed in.
Yeah.
So hopefully this helps a little bit. We have major levels that we're working with, and that's using this wave, that last pump that we saw, as a wave 2 high, which definitely looks like it was our wave 2. This plan here will become invalidated if we make a new high for wave 4. So this stays valid as long as we're below that wave 4 high or double top here. So that's what we can look out for, I think, in the next week or so, is this playing out. And obviously this is our next wave here, the strong drop towards one of those levels. So doom and gloom coming up.
Yes, but hopefully it ends soon. Hopefully the target, the support will be reached. We'll have a divergence on the RSI. It'll be exhausted. And this downtrend can finally reverse and start something really exciting next. So, and hopefully it does come down, because then that will just clear up the market just completely. That other wave 4 will be for sure invalidated at that time, and coming down to the 618 sooner, within this pattern here would invalidate much lower that would do as well, because this is so right at the textbook target for wave 2. So those other two scenarios will be invalidated, and most of the market will be on the same side, and that's also going to help catapult wave 3 when we have more participants, more momentum and strength, and all of that into that trade and into that wave 3 going up. So hopefully that does.
So this just looks like a reaction off the major 0.5. Definitely on the way down, we could break. Also, another thing to watch is our RSI. So in this wave 4, or the reaction off 0.5, we have a pretty good trend that we've built, maybe more slightly like this. The break of this trend is going to help confirm that we're on that sub wave 3 down. So we should get a break of the trend soon, to help confirm that before price maybe even does a whole lot of anything. Our RSI momentum would start to break, and then we would see price react. So that's kind of what I'm watching for, and I definitely think that we'll see that 87 cent XRP, and the 50,000 to 52,000 Bitcoin is what we're looking for. So I think we can switch over to altcoins here, and then maybe we'll do a small recap for anyone that missed it. I have some written down here. Definitely want to take a look at GRT. These altcoins are in a different market position than Bitcoin and XRP. So it's really important to look at these, individually, and not rely so heavily on what we're seeing on Bitcoin and XRP. Many of these altcoins are making a new all-time low. So that is incredible, for one. And it provides really good opportunity for us, because we can get in at a very good price. And one thing that is really unfortunate, though, is that we had to reset our wave count, and now we're kind of waiting on development in some subwaves to build, so we could get a good idea of where this is heading next. So kind of short term, it's a little unclear. Like, we really don't know where this is heading. Once we made a new all-time low, there is not much below it. But we are seeing here on GRT is good signs of a bottom so far. So we are kind of holding on price for quite a while. We have our RSI building up with momentum. So these are all really good signs that we have found our bottom. What I have marked here is a good trade strategy, which is scalping. And it's just showing trading from the 118 to the 236. The trade is waiting for a break in previous highs. And then coming up pretty close to the 236, I definitely think it would be worth exiting before the 236 so you don't get cut out there. But still a good 18% trade there. If you are getting bored with trading, these altcoins down here are looking much more like a clear signal entry than Bitcoin or XRP. So definitely wait for the price to come up there before entering. If you put in an order right now, it will immediately execute, because the price that we want to enter is right now is more favorable than the price we want to enter. So,
but you want to
wait for
confirmation is what you're saying.
Yes. You want to wait for it to break up towards these prices and trade that. So if I had to call out the prices for anyone who can't see the chart, it's 0.2 or 0.02974. So that's where I have this. It's technically above this high here.
Yeah.
Right here. And then it's going almost all the way to the 236. It's just the low of that, which is 0.0352. Yeah. So on GRT, you need to make sure you have all those decimal places. But still a good 18.5% trade. And don't get into that until you have confirmation. The only thing I'm looking for really on GRT is that we don't make a new low. I would have to reset or pull down our retracements a little bit more as a new low is made. But I still am heavily in GRT and really excited about it, actually. So if I step back before we move on and pull out here, this is the large macro time frame for GRT coming down for a new low. So I'm pulling our retracements down for the new lows that are made. But you can still see how nicely we're respecting our retracements. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even as that like slight new low is made, I still think it's okay. A lot of times when we do this and it's respecting nicely like this, that signals a really good strong bottom because it kind of called out a really strong low in the market. Yeah. So still perfectly okay here. This first price is 35 cents. And since that's already been tested a few times, I think we definitely could break to the higher one at 69 cents. So my targets really haven't changed a whole lot. For our good, strong projects, our good, strong altcoins, they should technically be making new all-time highs. So there's really no reason to think that it can't get to 35 cents or 69 cents. This is really just a 118 retracement and a 236 retracement. So still very conservative. And off of the 2.5 cents that it is right now, that's a very strong buy here.
Yeah. And when you were just zoomed in on those smaller time frames, it's showing a lot of strength and it's looking like it could turn around. It's tested that 118 many times. We've called out that level so many times in our lives, showing that 0.118 level is like a flip switch. And you can see GRT tested it probably 5 times now. Once it flips up, or even on the smaller time frame.
Yeah, it's up here. Yeah.
Once it flips above, to develop that new trend or the start of that new trend, like Cassie's saying. So that scalp is for sure going to be a really good one. But the fact that we're going to see it cross above that 118 and hopefully start that new trend is getting really exciting. The RSI also just made a new high on the RSI. So it is building strength and gaining some good momentum there. So I'd like to see that on GRT.
Good sign for GRT. Yeah. And what we'll do, just similar to XRP, is as we start to build subwaves on the way of up, we should be able to pinpoint which retracement we're heading to for a good target there.
Yeah.
Just overall a good time to be building a holding on GRT.
Yeah.
So we did have a question. Will the Clarity Act advancing invalidate the waves down for XRP or Bitcoin? And in my opinion, no. Major news like that should come and match up with the TA that we're seeing on the chart. So normally our major news is released on wave 3. So most of the time the market will have found a bottom before we get that major news release, because the smart money and people in the know already want to be positioned before that. But if we do get it early, what we kind of showed in the charts is XRP is ready. We're below the 618 retracement. It's reached that major target already. That would help accelerate wave 3. But what we're seeing on the charts is that we definitely need that low to 87 cents still.
If investors, institutions, or the market in general is waiting for that Clarity Act to be passed, it's possible that it's not going to be passed until our lows are met. So it's very possible.
And after our lows are met.
After the lows are met. So it's possible that in these next couple of weeks we could come down to that low, and it might not, that might be what the market could use as momentum to kick off for the wave 3 next. And especially just in the longer term, if institutions are waiting for that, then they might be waiting, or that could just help catapult that on that next on that next wave there. And in general, that could also bring stronger participants into the market and really push wave 3 to its full potential. So it's a good thing for the market for that to get passed. But in general, we know, Cassie and I believe this very strongly, that the news follows the markets and the markets do not follow the news. And we believe that so strongly. We're seeing that now with this war in Iran. It did not change the markets at all. And everybody was thinking that that's what could bring Bitcoin down to its lower lows, and nothing has changed in the markets because of it. So, so that's
I definitely think that whatever is going to happen is in the charts already. The charts are already showing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of news. Okay, so let's move on
a
little
bit. We
bit.
have a lot of altcoins, so we have about 5 minutes left before you have to leave us. So maybe a couple more altcoins.
I'll flip to a few more. We have Algo, which also was another strong one today, just like GRT. You can see that we're holding a good bottom. We're building up a bullish RSI, even as price is making a new low. Look at our trend here. We're getting higher lows here. And we're starting to get some momentum come in. So like we said, these altcoins are at a different position than Bitcoin and XRP. These can take off without Bitcoin or XRP, or at least show signs that the bottom is in before Bitcoin and XRP, or regardless of them. So I have another trade marked out here on Algo. Still has quite a ways to get to its 118. But definitely breaking above the 118 at 11 cents or 11 and a half cents would likely send it to about 13 and a half cents. So this is about a 20% trade, just spot buy, a really good trade here. And this is just kind of coming up to that resistance level. But overall, like, look at the pattern we're getting here on Algo. A good time to be getting in and adding to your holdings, just like GRT, but this is also a quick short-term trade if you want to.
You must be getting bored, Cass, because you've been tracking a lot of scalps lately.
Yeah, I have. And this one has been really annoying, Algo has. Because all of these were 118 until we made that new low. So it's just it's been annoying. But this next round, you guys are going to kill it with these scalps, because it should take off.
We know all of them are going to come at the same time. So pick and choose your scalps wisely once the market does turn around.
Hello, Eric. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Okay, so let's flip over to a few more. I know that people want to see H bar. So here's H bar. I'm definitely a little bit more zoomed in here. We've called out this 854 level in several live streams now. That's at pretty much right below 9 cents, but we are doing a really good job of holding that as support. So that's what we thought it would do, is just look exactly like this, build out support and start to break resistances. So definitely looks good here on H bar. One thing about H bar is it did not make a new low.
So it's really good.
Pretty strong chart. And coming up above for H bar, I think it was $1.40. No, we have $1 and then 69 cents or 67 cents and then $1.40. So we'll this kind of plays out perfectly. But just like on all the other ones, we're going to have to count out the subwaves and see kind of where this is landing. So that should be in a future live stream. I was counting out those subwaves there. Okay, so then one more would be Flare.
And have a request for cash. I know you have cash as well. We know what happened to cash.
We mentioned
Zcash, but maybe we can look at the chart and see where it's at.
It's devastating.
Okay.
So whoever is saying that got it. Out that devastating news. Okay, so here's Flare. This is the all-time low, and I'm kind of watching that. It hasn't reached all-time low or made a new all-time low, but look at this pattern here. Our RSI is definitely building bullish, so that's a pretty good sign. Could probably start to kick off with the rest of these altcoins that we're watching. But as I zoom in here, it kind of just gets a little bit more clear. We have this really strong trend here. We're technically flipped above the resistance level, but nothing too exciting going on here. The targets above for Flare are still 13 cents, 18 cents. I think we'll get a big, strong reaction out of the market, and we're just below 1 penny here. So definitely think that this one is still okay. The only thing I'm watching for is a new all-time low. There really isn't much to be said. Like, look at this pattern. But yeah, we'll kind of see that. Right now, all-time low is about 819, and we're at 886.
Yeah, alts shouldn't really be too heavily affected by Bitcoin's next wave here.
Yeah, because they're already pummeled.
Yeah, they're already so low. They should just range sideways, and we know that next wave on Bitcoin should not have very strong momentum or strength anyway. So it should be very just kind of stagnant and just a slow grind. It shouldn't affect the RSI that much, or even these alts. It's very possible that the alts just continue sideways right on their support until Bitcoin finishes. So I just wanted to call that out. But I'm laughing because this morning I was thinking about when we do our projections and like show our targets for the altcoins. All of the altcoins they're very conservative on our targets, but XRP is just like, no, we're going to go to the 4618, 8618. It was just making me laugh. But XRP isn't technically. I mean, technically it isn't. It's really an altcoin.
We've matured between just like Bitcoin and altcoins. You know?
Yeah.
There's definitely different tiers to this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, you guys. So I think that's it for today. If you missed any of the live stream, they are always posted on both X and YouTube. So go ahead and check that out. Share with your friends, get them informed about what is going to happen, and make sure they have a plan and are in on this next wave 3 coming up. And if you want to know more or learn how we use these tools on the charts, join our Discord. We are going through all of our lessons right now, and we just covered Elliott wave impulses, and we'll be on Elliott wave corrections next. So this is a good time as we're going through all of our lessons to join us on our Discord at twinsofcrypto.com. You can get signed up there, and we'll be doing all of our lessons every single week. We also have a dedicated live stream on Mondays for our Discord as well. So that's another way you can get a little bit more of us. And if you are trading futures and leverage, we highly recommend Blofin. Blofin does a really great job keeping your funds safe. They actually don't hold any of your funds on their exchange. They use a third-party custodian and just mirror your balance over to their platform. So that's a great way to keep your funds safe, and there's no shenanigans going on. And it really is one of the only exchanges that a U.S. resident can trade with futures and leverage. So we highly recommend them. Please use our link. It will be posted under this live stream if you want to get signed up for Blofin. So thank you guys so much for joining, and have a great weekend.
Yep, and we'll see you